White boys mocking this shit and y'all mad at me. Tyler the Creator said that in his new album Chromakopia. And I really feel that. Art has a way of combating everyday inhibitors of harm cloaked in a veil of normalcy.
White boys mocking this shit and y'all mad at me. Y'all can suck my dick.
All this does kind of apply here. When I heard that bar, I did think about the mediocre white boy in that campaign, but first I thought of Jack Harlow, even though this lyric was a reference to the new white boy rapper named Ian. These three exist simultaneously in the same America, and I think that's scary. That's the thesis to this video. Maybe you've seen Ian in your Spotify created playlist. They love to avalanche it up in the caucusify. But don't let this one bar fool you. Chromakopia is filled with the most queer inclusive bars. Give a f about pronouns, I'm that nigga and that bitch. Black queer inclusive bars.
Give a f about pronouns, I'm that nigga and that.
Feminist bars. In all actuality though, Chromakopia has touched on aspects of black art in ways I haven't really seen before. From the step-tight flow with Glorilla and Sexy Red. I don't fight for my respect, I fight for... It's like this. You know, one of those beats you make at the high school table with your color friends. It's time to lock in and you're like,
well guys, Jimmy Cricket fam, I can't do that slap.
Tyler the Creator was thinking very black. And sandwiched in between all of this blackness is Tyler the Creator's internalizations of fame.
Don't trust these people out here, please. Whatever you do, keep to yourself. Keep your business to yourself.
This is a conversation between Tyler and his mom. How'd I know that?
Please, because I don't want to have to fuck nobody else.
This is a very black mom conversation, like duh. No Google search needed, just spider sense. This show of tough love, Tyler is displaying through a vapid conversation, echoing in a distant past, sustained by our realities of the present. Was done in the Spider-Verse too.
They won't root for you like us. So here's the deal. Wherever you go from here, you have to promise to take care of that little boy. Make sure he never forgets where he came from. And he never doubts that he is loved. And he never lets anyone at those big fancy places he's gonna be in tell him that he doesn't belong there. And when he comes home, and he better come home.
It's a very black display of emotion because of the intricacies revolving around perceptions seen in a black person's life.
No one has spread false claims. What they've said is that a small migrant community, 20,000, so it's big for the city of Springfield, but it's small compared to all Haitians in the United States of America, that small migrant community has caused a lot of problems.
But you said that immigrants have eaten animals, and city officials have said that that's not true.
It gets interesting when we question how these perceptions are made, too. Because the fact is, people can be very creative with racism. This process, called epidermalization, has also carried on to methods of online policing. I mean, have you ever wondered why a disparagingly small amount of reports pertaining to racism or any of that actually work? But first, thank Aura for allowing me to do this research in this video. Aura really helped me here. Today's sponsor, we're thankful for them for allowing us to research in depth. You might think things like online coding doesn't affect you, but I'd beg to differ. There have been places in the US like United Health confirming 100 million of their users having their data stolen. 100 million. That's almost as much people that voted this year. And just like the election, this digital divide is part of a long history of attacks on marginalized people, all for the sake of corporate gain. Lax was diagnosed with cervical cancer at Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore, one of the only hospitals in the area that would treat African Americans at the time. During her treatment, a sample of her cancer cells was taken without her knowledge or consent. Considering how in the modern day we have internet databases which are really easy to break into, how much other cases like this can happen unseen. Quote, the lawsuit read, Black suffering has fueled innumerable medical progress and profit without just compensation or recognition. Basically, these companies don't care about you. So it's cool to protect yourself with aura.com/terp, aura.com/terp. And this data isn't just from medical fields. They're also taking in all those hours you scrolled on Twitter, trying to find a cure, and based on what they search, they recommend you a product. All this data is collected in order for company to gain understanding about market trends in their specific sectors and be more effective in advertising to you. But this practice isn't just restricted to Twitter. Stolen data can come in the form of any facet of anything you put online in your digital ethos. Thankfully, I feel secure because I use Aura. I mean, I have like 2 passwords, so I need something pretty strong. The internet doesn't have bastions of supportive safety nets for you. Against these hackers, Aura monitors your personal data, including your social security number. You don't want anyone to get that. Things could get real ugly. Across billions of data points like the dark web and public court records to alert you about potential identity theft. They also provide up to $5 million in identity theft insurance in case the worst ends up happening. Plus, Aura also offers a variety of other features to keep you safe online, including real-time alerts for data breaches, a VPN for secure browsing, and this is the gold right here, data broker opt-out, because this stops companies from selling your personal information, and a password manager to help you create and store strong passwords. Don't be a Playboy Cardi and get your music leaked, fam. You can join now on aura.com/turb for a 2-week trial. During this time, you could see in real time how Aura protects you from unwanted codes utilized by evil companies. Fanon's concept of epidermalization doesn't just apply to online safety, however. He originally explains this concept by recalling his encounter with a white child who was terrified by the sight of him. These ideations of life echoed about black existence.
If I have to,
but it wasn't just a meme,
create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do, Dana, because you guys are completely letting Kamala Harris coast.
You just said that this is a story that you created. So the eating dogs and cats thing is not accurate.
These lies will go on to actively harm the community of nearly 15,000 black people. Above all else, this will harm black people in general, because be honest, can white people tell the difference between a Haitian and an American black person? No. All he's concerned about is deporting us. So do you think white people were hurt by Trump's depictions of Haitians? Me thinks he's directly centering the fears of white people in his politics in order to get votes. In 20 years from now, white people will look back and gash about the rise of do-rags, bonnets, braids, dreads, fades, etc. Some of their kids might even try it out for aesthetic inspiration. While for us, for black people, in 20 years, when we become parents and we have black children, we're gonna have to teach them about how the world will degrade them, how they will always have to move with empathy even when shown apathy, how our hair was demonized, how these things called dreads in the eyes of white people painted you. Because let's be serious, the fact of the matter is, black people survived a depiction of subhuman, 1/3 of a human, and then kind of a human. Then we still lived to tell the tale. We are a part of history, have object permanence. We were never liberated, just commodified and repackaged for a failed presidential run. With this, Fanon demonstrates a success story of racism and colonialism, such that his skin became the physical representation of his identity. The effect of the child's gaze, that is, the white gaze, is that it transformed his bodily existence, which was once carefree, into this child's internalization of his race, into a body of some sort. You know, and mothers are very attentive. They want to suit their child up for the world and all the hardships that come with it, right? And because of this, black mothers tend to love toughly. Brantley conducted interviews with 35 black mothers and found out, quote, while black mothers share many of the same concerns as other mothers, black motherhood is distinct. That's because, in addition to wanting their children to succeed, black mothers also take steps to both protect their children from racism and help their child learn to navigate a society where they will experience anti-black racism. That is, Tyler's mom's conversation in these lyrics is a talking point of racial understanding uniquely felt between mother and child. I think it's beautiful black art. Chromakopia is a masterpiece. You should listen to it. But this one bar about a white boy in an album chock full of, no pun intended, black culture that has 14 songs on it stood out to me. Why?
This white kid, regular like Caucasian man, and he's like mocking Future and Gucci Mane like rap music. And like, people are like, this shit hard. It's not even like satire. It's like, I'm just joking, I'm just mocking it. But I'm like, no, you can't do. And I hold rap music so close to my heart, because this shit changed my life and everyone's life around me. And I'm a nerd about this shit. This is like weird. And I'm looking at it, and something about it like don't even sit well with me in comparison to someone like a Mac Miller or Eminem, who it didn't seem like they was mocking it. They had a genuine love for it, and they were still just being,
This was probably the same frustration Kamala Harris felt if she had a soul. Let's not forget she was fueling genocide, free Sudan and free Palestine. When she watched the white man, who campaigned on nothing except immigrant Haitian hate and transgenocide, exasperate the genocide happening in Palestine and Sudan, and still win.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is notably enthusiastic, calling Trump's victory history's greatest comeback.
Because that's what you get when you're a black woman and you're thrown into a public zeitgeist. Besides a white man in a country fueled by white supremacy. No matter how much more expansive your education is, your political background is, you will be demoralized by a depiction of your image.
You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. Why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
She was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black.
My mother was very well aware that she was raising 2 black girls to be 2 black women.
Until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black.
That statement echoes a dark history of a white man defining someone's race and using it to determine their place in America.
And that's why the voting numbers look like they did. Sorry, not sorry. Congratulations, America. You thoroughly surprised me with how racist you are again. However, no one wins in politics. The most evil, debilitating part about this process is what type of doom we have to choose. That doom was present, but we gotta move forward, so please stay with me now. Tyler, the Creator, pointed out my explicit problem with Wiggas, while simultaneously answering my rousing suspicion about Jubilee, 1 cop versus 40 prisoners, while telling me that art comes from me, life comes from me, experience comes from me, and I shouldn't center a constricting others' image of myself in order to live happily in my own skin type. Walk with me here. Wiggas wouldn't exist without Nick. Wiggas wouldn't exist without Nick.
You know, I'm not really worried about following up White Iverson at all. You know, I just want to make music that I'll make rap music. I just make whatever I like. You can't really categorize it or put me in a box or anything, you know.
One more time. Wiggas wouldn't exist without The problem with Ian or Jack Harlow or Wiggas inherently is how they mock, satirize, or utilize black culture in the most mundane, conventional, or commonly applicable ways. And I hope those 3 synonyms can sum up the way chalk folk scarcely produce something new when it comes to black culture. It's always kind of the same. But Wiggas have the unique ability to cloak themselves like Billie Eilish and be progressive artists pushing the modes of genres and sociality by mimicking the life work of a black person. The colonizer also lives in constant interaction with a culture that questions and alters his/her practical identity. However thoroughly they are dominated, colonized people remain a large majority. However much they are denigrated and disrupted, the indigenous, non-European practices of these people remain a pervasive challenge to European habits. The vestige of white is kind of like a one-for-all. In order to garnish generational wealth, squalor, and rights not aforementioned in the contractual agreements with melanated folk, basically Jubilee has seen All Might in all he's done and is now looking for his next Deku. And I mean that in a literal sense. They're both cops. Stay with me. Jubilee does this by centering a face which is a philosophical conjuration of the other. Politically speaking, it's like going man versus woman, not an actual antithesis in a literal sense, but more in a philosophical way. Men vote against women's rights historically, so men being centered in a conversation surrounding women just doesn't make sense, right? This all works in a binary of gender and politics society is saturated in. I'm just saying, let's be real. In this way, Jubilee can normalize scrutiny from the antithesis to the original subject's views. By doing man versus woman repeatedly, we only hear the deflections pertaining to a man's opinion on a woman's body. The way this all happens on an unbeknown audience who may share the same borderline regressive internalizations, this antithesis wields to their advantage is also horrible. Because guess what? The town hall is bigoted now. We live in Trump America.
You do not want to get in trouble out here. This is Trump everything, and the sheriff lives next door.
Questioning trans existence and making up stories about black people eating cats and dogs can be justified. The vice and current president allow it.
I will sign a new executive order instructing every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any age.
I'm never letting that go. Y'all voted for that. But seeing the subject, when they're marginalized, strike back against the bigoted norm can be amazing when the subject of the conversation wins. This is like the Naruto versus Sasuke fight. Although I'd argue that Sasuke is more marginalized than Naruto. But Naruto's centered in the story as an orphan. Sad. Swing scene all the time. Swing scene, swing scene, swing scene, swing scene, swing scene. Naruto being belittled the whole series. Naruto facing harsh internal conflicts of not being enough, yet changing the world because again and again he rises up and punches at evil. Makes me feel the same way as when a trans person debated Ben Shapiro. Because all of Ben Shapiro's talking points as someone who's not trans. I'm about to say the slur, Elon Musk.
Really, it makes no difference to me. She is an adult human. She can do whatever she wants. It is a free country. You cannot, however, change your sex by declaration.
Thought experiment. Put a white person on a chair and put a black person on the other. And then have them debate Tupac. I didn't really insinuate anything, did I? But your projections on what white and black people know about culture in tandem with your own ideations about race and society led you to a conclusion here. Hey, led you to a conclusion. Globalization is real, folks. Culture is inevitably gonna be shared. And I, in fact, love that Watashi wa Star song, Megan Thee Stallion. You beautiful human, you Megan Thee Stallion. You beautiful human, you. A lot of avenues of art, however, have given people access to black culture in ways they haven't ever experienced before. I went out last week and a white person told me to play Rema. This might be a good thing, you think, but I have to remind myself that this is like the bare minimum. Like, you just found out about Lucky. You just found out about Ethiopian jazz. Shout out to Anansi. The Twilight soundtrack only gets you so far in 2024 when you're in black circles. And that's exactly my problem. The white avatars of black culture lack sustenance. I will never find such a heartfelt love letter to a black high school cheer like Sticky by Tyler the Creator through an artist like Ian. Instead, he's forever forced to copy the same gimmicks that Wiggas before him like Post Malone utilized. Do you know how cooked we are as a nation? We haven't imposed a trade embargo on Durex yet. No wonder why fascism won. It's been winning. I will never find such a real conversation between mother and son about the surveillance of black boyhood and epidermalization, considering both the mother's internalization of a son's experience and the son's internalization of its mother's words. This gives me the same feeling as Donald Trump co-opting the fist in front of American flag during his campaign after being shot. I mean, compare this to Tommy Smith and John Carlos raising it prior in 1968 during the Mexico City Olympics with their medals during the national anthem. This makes me think about circumstance. See, in your history textbooks, as you learn about the evils of Trump concerning mass deportations, pro-police pardons for broad day lynchings, and proliferations of wars/climate crises, you're gonna see this photo where this symbolizes strength in a white, silent majority of bigotry. Tommy Smith and John Carlos were protesting racism and injustice felt in America. They were a part of the Olympic Project for Human Rights, an organization that protested racial segregation. And because of that, the IOC banned Smith and Carlos from further Olympic activities. The answer isn't capturing an aesthetic, it's building it. Look at the material realities of what made a photo like Trump's, throwing his fist up and rallying against anti-immigration and trans rights in order to quell support with who? Whereas Tommy Smith and John Carlos were fighting against the same commonality which made a Trump. I mean, too often, as leftists, we get a puppet which courts the right.
Had a lot of Republican speakers at the convention.
And gives way for its reactionary rhetoric to hurt us marginalized people, while we're supposed to be rallying for them. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. It's a been there, done that.
This election sucks.
The strength of Chromakopia is the method of relation it's coded in, being Gen Z/millennial black experiences, pertaining to specific times in culture, social atmosphere, youth, and marginalization. Layer it up like a gobstopper of an experience that dissolves into new intricacies each time you salivate through a layer. The point being, centering counter narratives by only attacking a method of relation which denigrates your existence will lead to your doom. What's beautiful is you, your culture, your experience, your face, your voice, your hair, and above all else, it's how you utilize it in order to will something special derived from you. And it doesn't even have to be beautiful, it just matters that it comes from you. SZA said, I ain't had a smoke break in about 2 days, don't break. Been about 3 years since I dated you. Why you still talking about me like we together? And all of my ideations of trauma were zapped away in a poetic psychosis of a sort. All because she made me remember who I was. As a Sudanese person though, SZA, thank you for not performing at the UAE too. SZA cares about Sudanese lives. That's like 900 up on your fave easily, moral points wise. Like, what I'm saying is the normalcy of white exploitation paves way for racist transgressions and disparaging effects in art. Meaning SZA's internalizations rooted in a very real experience of black femininity can be welded for economic gain for the carceral nation state that is Dubai, unless she explicitly says, no, we're not doing that. The same way the normalcy of marginalization paves the way for fascist transgressions, be it attacks on identity concerning race and gender. Black boys are being courted to prisons every day. Palestinians are being bombed every day. North America is still perpetuating in systems of harm which further marginalize people who don't have the luxury of having generational wealth like houses every day. Africa is being stripped of its resources by the UAE and its people being displaced in the millions. The system's been cooked in a million different ways. The answer never was a neoliberal normalcy. Fascism and liberalism are concepts rooted and sentient in the same racist, transphobic, marginalizing society which tends to situate its harm as normalcy. While you're sulking over this election, remember that it will get worse, and it will continue to get worse if we allow it to. Under the normalcy of peace in our inner and outer personal life, it's time we have those tough conversations. Who's organizing? Kids at the border have been kept at the border both terms. Queer rights have been taken away at a breakneck pace for years at this point. Black people are still being shot in the streets. I know it can get overwhelming, but please, try to look around you. Start with what's in front of you. Whether it's a protest for the unhoused, a rally for the homeless, a protest against the prison construction, try to attend something close to you, leading to the marginalization of neighbors in your city. When we organize, we can do more. Find orgs near and around you, at your library, or ask an organizer, what can I do to help? I don't want to lie to you. The next couple years are going to be hard. If you're marginalized, you'll need to form strong connections with mutual aid networks. Likewise, community members too. In the coming turn, that will be a fascistic reign. Hey Ella, it's time. I kidnapped you today because of the election. First of all, how have you been doing these last couple days?
As an actual American, I'm not going to lie. It's been tough. It's been tough, actually. We're kind of living in a bad place. But kind of, we are.
Yeah, it's kind of, like you said, you were an actual American as a fucking Canadian. It kind of affects us too, though, like with the rise of fascism. Like us, everything is swinging considerably right. Like the polls are showing that the government for like the next election is going to be like 90% conservative, and this is like good reason, right? Because neoliberalism has failed us, and then people are trying to like look at this other at like another, and then in the pursuit of like, I guess, whiteness in Canada, they look at the Conservative Party and they're like, oh, the Conservative Party are promising to get rid of immigrants. All these immigrants have been coming in these years that are, you know, the visual things they see that are like, oh, this is a terror to our society because of like ingrained white fears, right?
Yeah.
And that's my problem. That's my problem with the election. That's my problem with art. That's my problem with everything. And that's kind of what this video is about. And I need to break this down in a way that white people can understand. This is like my dear white people section of the video, right? So when we talk about art, and specifically Wiggas, or white people that participate in facets of black art, one thing I always chalk it down to is, how genuine are you? Like, do you talk to black people? Like, do you work with black artists? Do you work with black activists? If you call yourself a leftist, right? If you say you're in a fight for marginalized identities everywhere, and you're not centering black people, you're not centering indigenous people, you're not centering trans people, you're literally just courting like white views that are just like JD Vance talking about eating animals or something, Haitian people eating animals, and then you discerning that. Like, that's kind of, we knew that. Me as a black person, I didn't learn anything. I know I don't eat animals. My community do that. We all do that. Who are
you learn something new, but we live in it.
That's the thing. And that's the thing with these ideas of like centering the right is just so pervasive, especially in a neoliberal society where we're like, oh, we have to coerce these boys, or we have to coerce these people into like being leftist by being like good boys, being good. Because the thing with this election is like, yes, Kamala Harris had a terrible run, but y'all act like Kamala Harris was gonna bring liberation, and we were never liberated. Like, nobody here was ever liberated type shit. When I look at art, white people in art, like Billie Eilish in a do-rag, Miley Cyrus,
ban do-rags, ban the do-rags, embargo on do-rags. I'm saying no more do-rags,
4B
no more bonnets,
4B movement on the do-rag, bro. Like, just Billie Eilish specifically, 4B movement.
4B movement on the do-rags, please.
But when we talk about this in microcosms, when we talk about like I guess the way black characters get whitewashed, or way black culture gets utilized in art and things like that. But these are all microcosms of a majority problem of, you know, centering whiteness.
So I know like this video of yours is really focusing on whiteness as it pertains to blackness, but I really want to emphasize how it isn't just like a black and white thing, it's a everybody thing. Because like you keep using the term wiggas, but I personally like the word figures, which is like a fake nigga. You laughing, but it's so true. Because it isn't just white people that be doing this. It be a everybody thing. And that's why I'm like, the word wigga, it don't encompass the umbrella of nonsense I be seeing. So I be like, personally, you're not even a wigga, you a figure. I want you to know you're a fake nigga. Like, whiteness is the problem of everything. White supremacy, patriarchy, all those systems come together to ruin things for everybody, right? I used to be a hardcore K-pop stan. For anybody who knows,
Oh my god.
I gotta speak my truth, Turb. I gotta speak my truth. Like Turb said, redoing the 4B movement on do-rags, dreads, and braids. I don't want to see no neck-a-lon. I don't want to see no faux locks. I don't want to see it because the way blackness is, right? Sadly, blackness is considered the opposite of whiteness. And the way that our most popular media portrays blackness is high-key a caricature. So we, as black people, we feel blackness because we're black, right? But due to the fact that these people are now black, they gotta fit in where they can get in. So then they have to try to appropriate, integrate themselves into blackness in one way or another. We see this with the K-pop idols, do-rags, braids, dreads. Right now, the K-pop stands, whenever a K-pop star is like, I hate to say this, trying to act black, they be like, oh my gosh, that's my hood uni, that's my hood oppa. And I gotta do one of these because what? There's so many layers to this term. There's so many layers to this term. There's so many layers to this. A lot of people's perception of blackness is ghetto-ness. So that's already a lot to unpack in of itself, right? But hood uni, hood oppa, like the K-pop girlies start twerking and they be like, yes, hood uni, slay. The last time I said something mean to K-pop stans, they gave me a channel strike. So I be doing the little Arthur fish trying to contain myself. And white people do it too. White people do it too. White people also appropriate like black aesthetics in order to try to fit in and get in. Or even worse, my favorite one is like, they want to stick it to the man. Say, I'm not like the other whites. Then the do-rag slowly get on their head like this.
Like the Venom symbiote.
You gotta put it down. I'd be so scared. Like, when it comes to white people trying to participate in alternative cultures to show that they're not the man, they're not a part of the term. Have you heard of the blue bracelets?
Yeah, I heard of the blue bracelets and the yeah. To show that we voted them. And it's just like,
I'm not gonna lie. I'm making my own side video to talk about the election and my perception as a black woman and how it's low-key been giving me psychosis. As a leftist and a black woman, it's like, it's triggering, like I don't know what Dr. Umar said, like, it's triggering the coon chip in my brain because it's like, as a black woman, I feel bad for Kamala, but then as a leftist, not really. And the two identities are doing one of these. They're doing one of these, like, they're trying to converge, they're not converging. But back on topic. In order to practically stick it to the man and say, I'm not a part of these oppressive systems, white people, I'm telling you, they co-opt our culture. They co-opt everybody's culture low-key. That's why, like, if you look at some of, like, the admission statistics for, like, all of these big Ivy Leagues, I'm like, you including Asians in certain, like, percentages of whiteness. 2 seconds ago, I thought Asians were white. But now you co-opting it. They do that with black people. They do that with Asians. But like I said, our country is really like black and white. It really be a black and white thing. So like ancestrally, it always goes to how can we steal blackness and make it work for us? Rock music! Yes! I've seen it so bad with the whole YN thing, where it's like the young nigga thing, where they be confused that black people be into alternative stuff. Like, this black guy went up to this girl, I think, and was like singing a song from Dear Evan Hansen. And people were in the comments like, oh my gosh, I didn't know young niggas like theater. You think black people?
No, I've seen things like that. I've actually seen things like that. Like that one where like that guy singing that Moana song and everyone's like, oh, look at the YNs. They're watching Disney. Yeah. And the thing is, like, this rise of racism and this tension has been building up for like such a long time. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like another day. It's like this racism won, the sun rose. Like, what's new?
It's just that I understand what you're saying, and I shouldn't be surprised. But I'd be like, damn, like, you know, the orange man won and we're living in a state of hell.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know which data brokers done sold our information, but as of right now, there are black people getting racist texts because of the election. Like, yes, it's not like you told me aliens are doing the name in the streets. It's expected. But still, I gotta be like, damn. On my phone, my own phone that I'm paying. Oh my God, on my own phone that I'm paying the bill, you sending me racist text? I open up my phone, I think it's my best friend. They're telling me F you, nigga. I just woke up.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, this is just gonna be worse because with the same ideologies these people have been like campaigning with, it's going to be instated. Like the whole DEI thing, that was literally just a ruse for racism. That was literally just like.
Can I say something?
What?
So I am born and raised in Maryland, right? When our bridge collapsed, Baltimore has a black mayor. Baltimore is a black city. When our bridge collapsed and the mayor had to come out and say something, they called him a DEI mayor.
I remember that day. I remember that day. That was a wild Twitter day. That's
like seeing a black person in Ghana. Make it make sense. And this is what I'm talking about. We're just co-opting words in order to like center white people. Why would you ever say a black mayor is a DEI hire in a black city? Hello? I feel like I'd be calling it no one's home. It's just a whole lot of co-opting in order to center white people. Baltimore's black. If it was a white guy, it would have been a jump scare for me. What happened? Baltimore's a black city, but that's what I'm talking about. Sir.
I also talk about the album
Chromakopia.
Yeah, Chromakopia. Like, Tyler the Creator's album and everything. And I relate it to centering, I guess, blackness or centering like your marginalized identity in your songs and how beautiful that can be and how transformative of a process that is. A method, there's not really a method to relay that shit to the political in terms of like a Democratic or Republican party, you know what I mean? Because it's always been co-opted. Like liberations have always been co-opted by like COINTELPRO killing a whole bunch of like Black Panthers or like a whole bunch of Black revolutionaries that are like ruining shit, or like, you know, that shit just being dismantled and all that. So like when I go and I look for ideations of liberation, it's really hard, especially in a place like Canada that has been historically erased of blackness. Like, do you know about anyone except Drake that's black from Canada? Like,
blacking from Canada is crazy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. It's
Tory Lanez.
Oh, yeah, nah. See,
y'all got Drake and Tory.
I'm sorry. I didn't decide that though. I just I came here. I just got here type shit.
So sorry.
But when we talk about things like centering, I guess, blackness in politics, right? You're not gonna find that anywhere except community building.
Can I say something?
What? Say something.
You're not gonna find genuine representation because this is gonna sound wild. But when Kamala Harris became president and all the HBCUs got together like Voltron and everybody was doing their little line dances in order to support her, like we calling her big sis general. She said she's trying to be supreme cop leader, princess, empress. And we literally got the noobs talking about she with the noobs now, and they doing their little shoulder shimmy. They definitely co-opted blackness. I'm not gonna hold you, friend.
Yeah. I don't mean with the Democratic Party though. I mean with like community building with like locally, like in your area and like in your neighborhoods and things. Like when I was in Vancouver, that was my first kind of experience community building.
You told me, yeah.
I marched with like Decolonial over there, which are really cool people. I think y'all should watch Decolonial. I'll pop it up here. I mean, not watch, follow Decolonial. That's a historic connection between black and indigenous identity, from a fucking refugee to an indigenous person. You know what I mean? And like the thing is, like, people don't have object permanence and don't realize we're actively living in history. This is active history. Like everything that's happened before you, everything that's happened in the present, everything, you're an effective actor in history. So your actions, whether they be in liberalism, whether they be in a normative state, or whether they be in a progressive one, they will affect the future, right? When they write the history books of this, and they gonna be talking about you rooting for neoliberalism and fascism and genocide in Palestine type shit. Like that's what I mean. Like
I think people understand, but they're dissociating because you on TikTok. I hate when I ask, are you on TikTok? You on TikTok. But literally people are like, at least my gen, our generation. What am I saying? My gen. We are literally seeing memes of people like, oh my God, why am I living through another historical event? COVID, the election, everything that's happening in the Middle East right now. We know we're living in historic, unprecedented times, right? They're trying to memify the fact that Trump said that he wanted to like flatten Palestine.
That post got posted on a Canadian website and got like 50,000 likes. Like so much.
I'm trying not to crash out, but we know we're living in historic times. Literally, I spent like the first 2 years of my college education in home because we were in lockdown. We know we're just not putting it together. I really feel like we have a friend, their name is Anansi, but what they were saying about how Americans, I can only talk about America, the hyper individualism that we have here is blinding people from really realizing like the state of the world. I'm left, but I'm like in like my surroundings, more people are like liberal to moderate. So when I'm like, we need to do more than just vote. Voting is like bare minimum stuff. Bare minimum stuff. They're not getting it. They're not getting it. I'm still trying to beg people to mask. I keep K95s on me and I be passing them out like candy, but it's not enough. And this is coming from me as a nurse. I work in the hospital. Ain't nobody wearing a mask. They offer free masks too. They don't even be wearing masks in patients' rooms. And we know the patient's sick. It's a hospital. So that's what I'm saying. I was like, we know. We're just not putting it together like this. Like this.
Thank you so much for hopping on and everything. Please subscribe to Ella here. They've been on the channel like 3 times at this point. Like, come on. Like, why are you hating? Like,
we locked in type shit. We locked in.